Hello and welcome to another Field Focus. And I'm really delighted to be here. We're going to talk about a challenging topic today. There's a lot to get your head round. So it's one that you need to go back to and listen to a little bit. So I'll make sure that we timestamp this video so that you can go to the exact bit that you want to be reminded and refreshed about. What am I talking about? We're talking about the sacred royalties, royalties of your book, where you make the most royalties, what you need to do, how do you get your return of investment for your book. Book sales will take longer, so I like to paint a picture that you should view your royalties as passive income. But because books will sell when you're sleeping, because it's worldwide, it's global. But also you do have to do some action into selling your books, of course. But then as a business owner, there's other ways other than the royalty to get your return of investment, your ROI. So, but let's look and see if we can simplify this method of royalties and what it means for you as an author, and where and how you can gain the most and make most money from the sale of your books. So without further ado, let me start. And let's begin. Oh, stop sharing. Okay, let's try it again. Hold on, I'm going to need to reopen. It closed it down there for some reason. Let me get back to the beginning. Start slideshow. And now let me share. And hopefully it works this time. You know what technology is like? You think you've got it all primed, ready to go, and then boom, something happens. So look, it takes time to get your head around royalties. And we try and simplify it when we speak to you about it the first time. So this is taking it a little bit deeper. And again, on the Academy, there's more information that we can break it down. So let's look at what this. So we're going to explore the different distribution channels so that you can maximize your profits. That's what it's about, isn't it? Making money. So one of the ways in which we can do that is gardeners. I don't think I'm going to explain more about gardeners, but gardeners is a distribution center where it ships out your books to stores as the sales come in. Amazon Kindle Direct, KDP, where we know Amazon is worldwide, and so therefore your books can be printed anywhere in the world through Amazon. Well, that is we've got an issue with the UAE at the minute, but we're on it. And of course, selling directly as the author through your website. And if people come to our website, we just direct them from our website to your website, which makes it simpler for you. And of course, using we have an account with Lightning Source as a publisher, and they do all the print and demand for you around the world, because they've got printers around the world, just like Amazon. It's similar to Amazon, but it's one that the stores will use rather than Amazon. So let's look at what are the components. So you've got a book and you've got your RRP. You've got the retail price. What price is it to the customer in the shop? But out of that retail price, you need to take the cost of production and the printing cost. And then you're left with your royalty, and it's a percentage. The only time you get a full royalty is when you sell it direct. So here we are, exploring those distribution channels that I spoke about earlier on. So let's talk about gardeners. So as I explained, gardeners is a distribution channel, but with gardeners, you get a poor royalty, but the payoff with it coming from gardeners is it raises your profile as an author because it's taken seriously, the book trade use it, and for that privilege, for that sending out so you don't need to do it, your books are just being sold, you're doing nothing, they take quite a chunk of that royalty. So, but it's the preferred choice, as I say, for the online retailers and the shops, with the exception of Amazon, of course. So let's look at author sales via website and events, and we'll talk about particular authors here. So this is why you need a website to drive traffic to raise your profile, to be seen as you're an authority, and to sell your book. So other authors might go on and sell their books through I was going to say Spotify, but I mean, is it Shopify? You know, all of these other platforms, they might open the shop, and because you might have other products, and you might use various channels. And the reason for using various channels is just a wider reach of your product. It's like if it's only on your website, so unless you're driving thousands of people to your website, you need other people to help you sell your product. So just think of a product like if you want to buy a Nike top, for example, there'll be Nike stores, there'll be other sports stores who will sell Nike tops. You'll be able to buy it online, department stores, lots of different outlets. And that's why they're successful. When we just reduce the outlet to one, well, you know, as I say, unless you're driving tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands to your website, those sales are going to be low. You need to look at the percentages. We're not talking about that today, not from that point of view, but also your events. So, for example, we had a client, and she was doing an event in Glasgow, lives not even in the UK, but just offshore. And she says, I've got an event in Glasgow and I need 100 books. So we ordered 100 books. And when she turns up, they're sitting there waiting for her. So she is getting the best return of investment there because she's only paying for printing and postage to get them there. So therefore, website and events, obviously, there's no postage of individual books. You need to add on the postage to the price of your book. So if you're selling your book at £20, you don't then take off the price of the postage. You say it's £20 plus £2.95 post and packaging, or £3.95, whatever it is. You see, and that's where Amazon sometimes has an upper hand to a certain extent, because if they get an Amazon Prime customer, they can get your book for free and no post and packaging. So the message I'm sending you here is do not rely on one source. You need the variety of sources to bring in those royalties, because royalties is only one small part of being an author. And a lot of people at first think, oh, my book, and I'll get all these checks and everything. Yes, you will. Yes, sometimes you'll get a big check if you work hard on your marketing and PR, or sometimes you're getting like, you know, you're getting a few pounds. And then my question to you is, well, what have you done? What have you tried? What activities have you been involved in? Have you reached out to us for our support? So everything is about author responsibility, but we're the parent here. We're here to navigate and help you, but you're the driver. You have to remember that. So this is the most profitable method for your book sales. and you sell directly to the readers and you're cutting out everybody else. So you get the biggest chunk. When you sell through Gardner's distribution, let's look at what you get. So take a deep breath, because it's not what you think. So your book is £20. It's in colour. So Gardner's will take 55% of that cost for selling your book. So they're taking more than 50%. There's the royalties are £8.98. So you need to take off the cost of, I'm moving this around. You need to take the cost of splitting that, and then you need to take your printing. You're making 54p, 2.7% profit. Horror. Not a lot, but now Gardner's, that's one way of working with Gardner's. So this obviously, when you're selling low volume books, this is not a good way. It doesn't feel good to you, right? But however, if you're selling quantity, it's great, because you're getting your name, you know, your name's getting into shops and other you know, literary establishments, so your name is getting known. So this is not, Gardner's isn't used for money making unless you're on volume. But if you're only selling 20, 40, 100 books, you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to make something. And remember, it's passive, because you're doing nothing for it. Your marketing's driving people to that, and they're doing that. So, but here's what I want to say to you. If you're a traditionally published author, you will be barely making maybe 26p. You'll be barely making 1%. So everything swings and roundabouts, but there'll be a bigger volume there. So author sales via website events for books printed by a commercial printer. So remember that we're going, yeah, let's look at this actually. So your book's £20. It might cost £4 a book. So you've got £16 profit. You make that's 80%. So if you sell the book yourself via your website, your events, and what other means you can, you're going to make 80% profit. So you can see already, it's not, it should never be one method. Should never be one method. You're restricting yourself, even though you think, well, I'll sell them myself, but it's harder to sell them yourself unless you've got a massive following. But there's ways we can build things up. And if you look at that, okay, I'm making £16. I sell 100 books and I'm making 1,600. So if I go to an event, I'm speaking at the event, I wow them at the event with my talk. I talk about my book, hold my book in my hand. Everything I talk about, it should be in that book. If you're talking on stage and it's not about what's in your book, let's go have a conversation, because then they're talking about, I want that book, I want that book, I want that book. And they come and you sell your 100 copies, you've made £1,600 profit. Nice for an hour's work. You know, you might take your travel off. It might cost you, let's say it costs you £50. You know, you're making 1,500 and then something to eat. Let's say we've got £100 expenses, making £1,500 for an hour or so's work. Job done, I would say. But how often are you doing that? Can you book yourself out once a month to do that? So you know you're going to make a minimum of that £1,500 or whatever. Is the organizer at the speaking event going to buy them at full price off you? Well, your profit's just gone up. Or you're going to give them a discount and say, well, can you buy, you can buy them for, instead of £20, £15, making a profit. So you're still making, you know, you're still making a good £1,500. So just know, my message is not one way. Sometimes you take the low return because it's raising your profile, your brand, your authority, as opposed to a harder pedal on selling them yourself. Swings and roundabouts. So there you go. So if you, I think I might need to update this. So on £5,000, you sell 313 books and you get your money back. So if you do 3 of these gigs, 3 months, you've got your money back, plus all the other sales, plus. So you can really get your money back quite quickly. But you need to put in the time, effort, and investment. So we need to turn the words into profit, leveraging speaking engagements. So I kind of touched on that in a minute ago, actually. Not a great lover of this slide. This is how not to do a slide. So this slide needs redoing. Shouldn't be full of text, but it is. Hey ho, I don't know how this one got past me, but it did. So if you speak for a company for half an hour in exchange for 100 books, that's £1,995. Right, so you can speak for free quite locally, but you say you've got to. I'll speak for free, but you need to buy 100 of my books. So if you get 3 events like that, remember this is half an hour. I showed you an hour before. Then 3 times 1,995 is 5,985. You make a profit of 985 for doing 3 half-hour speaking events. Wow! Now, do you want to learn how to speak in a professional way that gets people running to buy your book? And the books might just be given out for free because organisers buying them. So everybody comes in and there's your book on their seat, but they've paid the full price. So you you can take off the printing cost there, which is still, let's take it won't even be 985. It might be around that. Okay, so you're making your 5,000. You've got your back. That's only 3, but you're going to do lots of those. Let's look at Amazon. Let's look at print and demand via Amazon. Now, there's print and demand other ways, but Amazon, everybody goes on about Amazon, and Amazon capture everybody because of their self-publishing. I'm a massive bookstore. We've got millions of people around the world. So hey, I'm going to let you print your book and sell it in our shop. But they're not looking at quality or anything. They're just, okay, I've got more books to sell. There's pros and cons. There's a place for Amazon, but you need to be careful. And obviously, so I'm referring to self-publishing here because obviously we use Amazon. We need Amazon. We need Amazon for getting your bestseller status, unless we know we can sell 5,000 to 10,000 books in 1 week. That's why it's a celeb. That's why you get very little unknowns who can do that, unless they pour in thousands of pounds for a PR campaign. So everything has got its price. Nothing happens for nothing. There's another absolute piece of, you probably know it, you need to believe it. You need to know that straight away. Okay, so but it's profitable, but you've no print costs. You don't need to get them, and it's a widely recognised bestseller. Platform. So so you've got the commercial printer for your author website events. You can print it from them or a commercial. You can do print and demand or them. Profitable with control over production, and best for bulk printing for events and personal sales. That's if you're only doing print and demand. So the quality of the books that we print from our commercial printer are cheaper and better quality than print and demand. But sometimes we do use print and demand. Every situation is different, so it means it's a discussion. We look at the difference in prices and then we work out what's the best option. So I don't know, it looks like I shouldn't have somebody coming in at this time, but anyway, I can't get rid of that. Is this on the screen? Let me get rid of that way. So a book's £20. They charge £6.5p for the print and manufacturing costs. The percentage to Amazon is £7.98. So you can see already it's more than Gardner's. The royalty received is £5.92. It's £2.96. You get 14.83%. So there's no upfront cost. So now gardeners offer this service. So we can still use gardeners without the upfront cost, which is better for us. So if the price is £19.95, print of cost in the book £605, profit from the book is £13.98, but then you need to take off the print and demand, and you're left with what we said over there, £5.92. Lightning Source, again, they take £10, £11, the royalty that they want, you're left with that split. So it's very similar, not much in it. So when we use print and demand, we're not taking out, we're not paying printing costs. The impact of printing on your profit. So grayscale is most economical, good for print runs, good for non-fiction, colour printing more for children's books. Some non-fiction books have it. You make the choice how big a profit margin you want. So it's your choice whether you put print colour in it or not. Sometimes the pictures in black and white are more effective. It just depends. So one of our author's books, she's printing in colour because it's cartoon-like and they're all hand done for her book. So it's fine. And it worked out not too bad. So highest profit margin for specialised markets is the author website and events. So you can, we'll talk about ROI another time, do that on Thursday. And you've got the control over you've got control over the printing. So again, print and demand for author's website, a substantial profit, not as much, but substantial, flexible for smaller print runs, and it's direct to author to reader connection. So Amazon KDP, low profit, but no upfront costs, access to a vast customer base. That's the advantage of Amazon. So we've got gardeners, the distribution, lowest profit, but strategic for profile raising, aims to enhance visibility in retail channels. So grayscale, 200 copies, £3.95, colour, in grayscale, £2.44. So you can decide, do you want colour or grayscale? And we discuss all this before we make the decision. So it's £1.51 a copy. Is that important to you or not? Because if your book's not about making money from sales, then that won't impact on it as much. So there we have, if you do a grayscale book, look at that, profit 87.76. Wow. So this is what I'm saying, it's all different what you're doing. You should be using a range of it. So therefore you need 285 books, and most people should be selling a minimum of 300 books a year. So if you aim to sell 300 books in your first 3 months, within those 3 months, you've got your return of investment. And there you go, another high return in your profit margin there. The book trade, the royalty would be £8.52, which is 4.26 split. With the author and publisher, the profit is 21%. So I have another, we'll go through it more in definitive detail on Thursday, but this is the overview. So colour printing, most profitable for the author to print via the commercial printer and sell at website and events. Next is print and demand copies for the author to sell on their website with 69.67%. And then third party using Amazon, profit 14.83. It's got no bonus to upfront prices. And finally, third party sellers, gardeners, the profit is least. So there's still, gardeners is a huge place for gardeners because they take up the biggest part of the market next to Amazon. There we have it. If you have any questions, please put them down below and let's get a conversation going about royalties. I know it's quite contentious. It's something that we're always looking at, and how can we improve it for the author? How can we improve it for us as a publisher who has to deal with all these the various routes that the royalties come in. And so it makes it quite an interesting part of the work that we do each month. So until next time, this is Brenda saying, be brilliant. Much love. To the pip.